Hi, this is Pat McDonald, your host for Vote for Vermont, where our tagline is Listening Beyond the Soundbites. Today is October 14th, and it's the second to last day of the National Hispanic Heritage Month, which strangely, defined month, runs between September 15th and October 15th each year. And so I thought it would be great to do a show on being Latino in Vermont. And I have invited a very dear friend for many years, Elizabeth Rodriguez, and she has introduced me to a new friend, Jairo Cecada. I did it. Oh, I did. Thank you. Welcome, both of you. I'd like to give you an opportunity to introduce yourselves to our viewers. And
okay, thank you, Pat, for having me on this show. My name is Elizabeth Rodriguez. I am originally from the Dominican Republic. I've been here in the state of Vermont since 1989. Came here with just me, my car, and 3 children and 1 on the way.
Oh, bless you.
So I just decided this was going to be it, and I've been here ever since.
I have to why Vermont? I mean, I'm so glad you came here because we have known each other and enjoyed your personality and also, but Vermont's a long way away from the Dominican Republic.
It is. What happened was I was going through some ups and downs. I'm originally from New York City, so I actually came from the Dominican Republic
to New York.
Oh, okay. And I went to elementary, middle, high school, some college, and then I started having children. That was in the 80s.
Okay.
80s were crazy 80s.
Yep.
So I just didn't want to have my kids anymore living in New York, being raised in New York with all the stuff that was going on. You know, I just wanted something different for them. So I had a friend that lived here in Waterbury. Up in a mountain. I came to a mountain. I had never been on a mountain. And she invited me to come over and stay at her house, and I did with my kids. And she helped me get onto economic services. And they helped me find a little place in Barrie.
Nice.
And
well, good. That makes a little more sense. Coming from the Dominican Republic straight to Vermont, I'm like, that's
no.
New
York City
New York, I get. We have a lot of people now. We're doing a show on housing. People from New York want out so bad. They're buying homes here in Vermont, sight unseen, and mostly at more than the asking price.
Yeah.
It's like we're the place to be.
Yeah.
So there you go. Well, thank you very much. We know each other from DMV.
1999,
and now Facebook.
Facebook and supermarkets and everywhere we see each other.
Exactly. That. We should talk about DMV. That was I missed that. I missed the people. So Jairo, maybe you could tell a little bit about yourself and how you know this lovely lady.
Well, my name is Jairo Cecada. I am originally from Nicaragua, and I came to Vermont via Costa Rica. At first, I came to Littleton, New Hampshire.
Oh, we know it well.
And I spent 2 years there, and then we moved to Vermont, to Plainfield, and there in Plainfield, we started. There was a group of people they were usually just people from Plainfield, who were getting together to speak Spanish.
Nice.
So when I came to Plainfield, they invited me to join the group. And then we started finding a lot of different people, Spanish-speaking people. And there was how I met Elizabeth and Gina.
And Evelyn.
Evelyn too.
From
and
Honduras.
some of the people who have moved out, I think.
A lot of them moved out. But
but it became a big group. That it became so big that we fell apart. Because there was no. At first, it was just a group of a few friends. So we would pick a house, somebody's house.
Nice.
Every weekend we had a place to go.
Along with some food, I bet.
And we would bring a plate of food from your country.
Nice.
Right. And well, that was years ago. I mean, I came here 29 years ago now.
Nice. Well, we're glad you're here. Now, what do you do for work?
Currently, I work for Washington County Mental Health.
Oh,
So I work in the schools, in elementary schools,
Oh, nice.
with kids, with children who have
That's great.
difficulties.
Mary Moulton, I am the head of her fan club. I adore the Washington County mental health people. I think they do so much good. You're with a very an awesome organization.
I think I do. Yes.
Yeah,
I am.
awesome. Yeah, it's a great. Where are you now? You're with what are you doing these days?
I'm not doing anything right now, Pat.
Oh, this is perfect for you. This is good.
I was working for at the airport for
Right.
airline, but I decided that it was time for me to take a break, and I kind of like resigned.
Good for
Do
you.
a little traveling now, you know.
That's a good thing to do.
Definitely.
Well, I tell you, your Facebook, because I looked up and I said, I know this one from DMV, and you didn't mention DMV.
No,
And
I
think, I
didn't.
said to myself, am I crazy? I know this woman. But there we
Yeah,
are.
it was from back
Yeah,
then.
exactly. So I've been doing a lot of research for this show, and as we just talked about before, that the Spanish population, it's 2.4% of our population here, and it's the fastest growing minority group in Vermont, which is a great thing, I think. And it was up from 1.5% in 2020. But I read that it's very hard for Latinos to find a niche in Vermont. And I don't know how true that is, or whether this was just the author of this article was struggling himself. But because I look around and I see so many Hispanic people in education, in science, and business here in Vermont, and what do you think about finding that niche in Vermont? I don't know what our niche would be here. I don't know.
Well,
we're made
and
up of so many
just
different
before
people.
he answers, because I had to look that word up.
Oh, niche.
Because I did not have a clue what the word meant. Okay, so niche means a comfortable or a suitable position in life or employment.
Right.
I had to look it up.
That's
I didn't
right.
know. I'm going niche.
Niche.
See, finding a niche is finding a
Niche.
place where you feel
Yeah,
comfortable.
exactly, where you fit in, where you feel comfortable, that you don't feel like an outsider. But how did you find the transition here to Vermont? And
Well, for me, when I came here, I came. My ex-wife is from Vermont.
Ah.
This is why I ended up in
perfect.
Vermont.
Yep.
We met in Costa Rica. I had gone to Costa Rica from Nicaragua because of the war in the 80s in Nicaragua.
Right.
So I lived in Costa Rica for 7 years, and I met the mother of my son, there, and then we decided to move here.
Wow.
She wanted the kid, to be born in
Yep,
the U.S.
right.
And but at the time, her parents were in Littleton, New Hampshire. That's why we went there, and we were crashing at her parents' house for a while.
We're here.
And then we moved to Plainfield because she went to Goddard.
Oh, perfect.
That's
Right.
why we.
Right.
And so my first 2 years in Littleton were difficult, because I was very isolated. And my English was minimum.
Right.
I remember a time when I went to a place and I wanted to ask, where can I sit? And I knew the words, but I just couldn't put them together.
Oh, wow.
I know there's a chair, a seat, I know where can, but I never, I didn't have that facility. So it was very limited.
Huh.
Fortunately, I found there, actually, our landlord in Littleton, New Hampshire, was a Cuban guy.
Oh, perfect.
And he became a friend, because we had, and we used to go to his house. He used to come and visit, and there was a very small group. Plus, we had a very small baby, keeps you busy. So that's when we moved to Plainfield, that changed. It was a big change because Plainfield at the time, Goddard was,
right.
happening, and there was a lot of people there in Plainfield, and there was a movement where I felt that right there we found this Spanish group. People started inviting me to their homes, and
Well, at that time, Goddard had the students there.
Correct,
Right?
correct.
Now they don't. They're mostly remote, so there's no. That's great because
People lived in those
yeah.
houses there.
Yeah, it's not the college atmosphere, but back then it was.
Exactly.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it was more movement.
Yeah.
So I play the guitar. I play music. So I connected with people, with musicians. I used to play in different bands
Nice.
around here in Montpelier.
Oh, excellent.
I used to play almost in every restaurant here in Montpelier, downtown. Like when Neki was happening
You and
at
your son,
Julio's,
right? Your son used to play with you.
Yes,
Oh,
also my son,
nice.
he's a musician. And
Nice.
we used to have a duet when he was a little kid.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's one thing about Vermont. We have so much local talent. And not just musicians, but artists. I mean,
Correct.
it's an amazing place here with regard to personal skills and stuff. I've never, every time you go to a fair, there's always somebody there with skills that I don't have, and I appreciate it. So.
I
But
have a
especially
skill.
musicians.
Yeah. I remember, I don't know if you know Judy Chalmer.
Yes, of
Yeah,
course.
So Judy Chalmer organized, she wanted to find out how many people from different nationalities
Yeah.
were in central Vermont.
Yeah.
And she found out, I think there was from 44 different countries
Oh,
who were in
well,
Vermont.
in Burlington and at the high school, and I don't know whether this number is true, but there is something like 40 different languages that they have to deal with in the high school.
I bet.
Imagine,
To try to communicate with
Imagine,
the
yeah.
students, because there's so many, and I may be way off on that number, but no vocals. But I remember at the time when I worked in Burlington that the number was staggering, and they had trouble keeping up, finding people that willing to translate, so the kids would have the documents that they needed.
And so Judy interviewed almost
Great.
all these people, and then she put something together, and we performed at the Lost Nation Theater.
Oh, right, they're
You know,
marvelous.
everybody with their stories. I played
Yeah.
the guitar, and there was a line I remember saying there that the cool thing about Montpelier is that this was a place for all kind of artists. You know, that you could
Right.
find writers,
Yep,
you know,
right.
musicians, singers, poets, and a lot of lawyers.
A lot of lawyers. Good observation. We have the highest percentage of lawyers in our capital than any other state in the
Really?
United States. That
Wow.
says, I don't know what that says, but
I don't
that's the
know.
truth. Yeah.
Yes.
So you have found your niche.
Well, I did, you know, but I find out that people move a lot in the U.S. more than
Well,
in
very
my
flexible.
country.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
true. Right.
People come and go.
Yep.
So a lot of my friends, well, I'm older now, you know, so I'm
Right with you on that one.
there was more work before, you know, so I find that everybody has found their niche now. You know? and I'm feeling myself increasingly like isolated that
Oh.
way, you know.
You know, I feel the same way too.
Yeah. So
Because a lot of people have moved out.
Yeah.
Like remember Rosa, Mexican. All of a sudden they sold their house. They lived on Cumming Street, Cumming Street, and they
moved.
left to Boston.
Well, because as you get older, people are moving. Not that we love Vermont, but it is a little expensive here.
Yes.
And
It
people
is.
are moving to greener pastures where it's not quite so expensive. Because we've lost a lot of friends just from retiring and wanting to live a little bit freer, have a little bit more disposable cash or whatever. So, Elizabeth, what did you find here, moving here, coming and finding that place to belong?
Well, I am a person that I get accustomed to anything real quick. At first, it was a little hard because in '89, when I first came here, there was no diversity. People would
true.
used to stare at me
Yeah.
and ask me, "Where are you from?
Yeah.
And what are you doing here?" And I'm a New Yorker, New York. Nobody talks to nobody unless they know you.
Right.
You know what I mean? You fall, you whatever. They keep going. It's like, whoa.
I want to get involved.
Yeah, no,
Right.
yeah, I don't want nothing to do with that. But over here, when, you know, and I felt like, oh my God, why are these people talking to me? They don't know me. And I felt like, but I actually ended up leaving like a year later.
Huh.
But then a year later, I came back.
Interesting.
Then, like 2 years later, I left again. And I came back in '94.
Huh.
That's when I was pregnant by my youngest. A month before I gave birth to him.
Wow.
I came back and I knew
Must be something appealing here.
Well, I loved the state. The state when I first came, I fell in love with it. I loved the schools. I love how people, even though they didn't ask me, you know, I didn't even know I had how do you say that? Like when you speak and they
An accent?
Oh, an accent? Oh,
yeah,
right,
they told
right.
me, where's your accent from? I'm well, me? I don't have an accent. Hey, we're in New York. We talk English, Spanish at the
Right.
same time or whatever. And nobody knows that they have an accent unless they go to an all white community and they say, hey, where's your accent from? Then they, it's like, I never knew. And I went like, I don't have an accent. Like
That's funny.
what am I? But I just found that this was the best place for my children.
Yeah, that's great. That's a good.
And I used to travel every month until I got tired of it to New York City.
Yeah.
Do my grocery shopping because back then they didn't have a Goya section like they have
Right,
now.
right.
There was nothing at
Yeah.
all. You either go to New York or we will go to Lawrence, Massachusetts and go to the grocery store there and buy our groceries and stuff
Well,
that
that's
we
changed
ate.
a lot now, hasn't it?
Well, it
And,
does.
as far as foods and access to foods and stuff.
Yeah, there is some stuff.
Yeah.
There's a little bit more than there used to be.
Yeah.
So we
Because
can.
we have the Whole Foods and those places that specialize more in international foods.
And most of the time, also, it's like the main thing because the rice, the beans, and all that stuff. It's fine. That's
basic,
the
yeah.
basic
Right.
stuff. But it's like the seasonings. Like we prepare a sofrito. They sell it in the stores in a Goya thing, but it's not the same as you making it at home.
For sure, nothing's the same. like
So
you make it at home.
we usually make it at home. And I have a friend also, Margie. You remember Margie, Margarita, Puerto Rican?
No.
She used to make it and have it in the store that used to be in Barry, like a little co-op on Main Street, and she used to sell her sofrito there. People used to buy it
We
too.
should have a cooking show here.
Right.
Hey.
Because my friends in Tarrytown, they always had backyard events, and everybody always brought food, and there was music, and that's what I remember back from my friends who have Latin backgrounds, just amazing. But,
Well, when we used to have the get-togethers, I remember one time in my house, Jairo, you remember when I used to live in Atorboro Lane, that we had one meeting there? And you brought the guitar and you were playing the
that's
guitar and we were just sitting around, everybody eating food and talking and all that stuff. And those were nice things. And then on Main Street, up by the big building there, there was a couple that used to make meetings there too. And they had a little burro. Or, you remember
that's
them?
car yeah.
I haven't seen them again.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about, you mentioned Puerto Rico, you mentioned where you both were from. When you talk about the Latin culture, it's really, I think, 33 countries make up Latin America. So how do you describe Latin culture? Because how do you do that with 33 countries? Because I bet each one of them
They have their
is
own.
completely different. So
Everybody have their
But you
own.
must have besides the language, there must be something that brings you all together and that you have in common.
It could be. It could be a lot of things. I mean, it could be the food. It could be the music. I mean,
And also there is another thing I think about Latinos, I think we are like a very friendly people in the sense that
Yes.
I talk to anybody.
Right.
Yeah, me too.
Sometimes I get in trouble for that,
Yeah,
because
me too.
I
That's
found
okay.
out that the culture here is different that way.
It is, yeah.
Sometimes you don't talk to people unless somebody else will introduce you, and I have a hard time, sometimes adjusting to
I
that.
think we're very, I'm a New Yorker, so. And that accent comes out a lot. When I was testifying one time, I got so excited, and everybody, all the legislators, they all stopped staring at me, and it was because I just was talking crazy. I mean, not crazy, just fast like you do with my hands going. And,
that's me.
Yeah, but
So we share,
but we're pretty protective here, I think, aren't we?
Yeah. So like we share besides the language, the music, some food, because some music, for example, some in Nicaragua, there's some Nicaraguan music that is like similar to music in El Salvador,
Yeah.
in Central America.
Yeah.
Maybe Guatemala changes a little, because they have more indigenous people than we do.
Yeah.
but we share a lot of like the food, the music, the language, and some funny aspect of the culture. For example, if I am in a gathering with a lot of people, Latino, we all talk over each other,
Exactly.
and it's not considered to be rude,
Yeah.
And if you want to talk, you tell the other person to shut up, in my turn, but it's something very different.
Yeah, and the food and the music might be a little different in every country, but we all dance the same. I mean, like my country's, the first is merengue.
Yeah.
I don't know how to dance merengue.
Yeah, I do.
That's great.
And salsa music
And
is also
salsa,
very,
yeah,
very popular
salsa.
in
Right.
everywhere,
Right.
except very in the south of South America, let's say like Chile and Argentina.
Do you know a lot about all the countries that make up Latin America? Because you seem knowledgeable about other countries that are not yours. You're from your place of birth, so it's sort of you've gotten to know everybody, or their culture and music and.
Well, he's from Central America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all those Spanish other countries are there.
Yeah.
So, and they're connected by borders, right?
Right, right.
yeah, they're-
My country is in the Caribbean, so who we are connected with is with Haiti.
Right.
Puerto Rico is like
Yeah,
by
that's all.
plane half an hour
Yeah,
away, but
yeah.
we are like more.
So
So he will know a lot more
Oh,
about
I see.
all.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But something has changed too. I think we used to be more isolated in Latin America before. We're more because isolated in the sense that we didn't know much was happening. Everything was connected by TV.
Right.
Back in those days, So TV kind of like unifies,
Yeah.
the way people speak and all that. I remember when the first time I went to Costa Rica, talking to people in the street, and they were speaking Spanish, and I was like totally clueless. I was too many slangs and things,
Oh, right. Yes, right.
The way they speak
Right.
and the slang they use, they didn't make any sense to me. And it was like learning a different language. But that changed now, I think, with the social
Internet,
media.
the social media, right.
It became so interconnected that now anybody can speak like Mexicans, or like people from Dominican Republic, or like Argentinians, and do those accents of different. Because we are like really more connected now
Oh,
than
that's
we were
great.
before.
You mentioned, and I researched this, the difference between heritage, I've got to look at my notes, and culture. Heritage refers to the aspects of culture that are inherited from generation to generation, and culture is the ideas, the customs, the beliefs, and social behaviors. And I think people use those words interchangeably, but they're very different. And heritage is your background,
Your background, what you learn
your
from your
parents, your
ancestors.
grandparents, and
So
and
more
culture is
personal.
and culture is what everybody as a community is
the
doing.
food, the dancing, the music.
Well, that's my impression of the Latino people from my friends in Tarrytown, because, I mean, they were always in a great mood, and we always had so much fun. And
We are fun people.
and they're very family oriented, which I like. They're
Very,
very
very
protective of
family oriented.
Yeah,
That,
which I
that I
think
would tell
is a
you.
good skill to have, a good basis of who they are.
And you pass it on to
Yeah.
your children,
Yeah.
because I mean that's something my mom passed on to me,
Yeah.
how she raised me and my 4 siblings, and that's the same way I did with my
Yes, with
kids.
your kids, right?
And my
Well,
daughters are excellent mothers.
Yeah.
I mean they're the greatest. They are those 2 girls of
Do
mine.
they all live here, Elizabeth? Or
Yes, they do. They live
Oh,
in
perfect.
Burlington. Leslie works at the airport, and Kateria works for Chittenden County Court. And she's been there since, oh my gosh, she's been working for them for like 16, 17 years.
Oh, that's great. It's good that
at the
they're,
court.
that
She's an
they're so
advocate,
close
a
by.
victim's advocate.
That's one thing with my family and many others. Everybody's moving, and we don't have. I was brought up with a huge family. My aunt would have it'd be like 100 relatives, not all direct, but by marriage and we'd all get together. But now everybody's moving. It's very bad. I don't
No,
like it.
and it's like nobody is. It's not like before. Like people like I don't know about that group that you got. You guys got a new group that gets together
Yeah,
now.
Elizabeth was telling me about that.
It's-
What's that about?
Well, there was a person from Ohio, who went to Uruguay and married a guy from Uruguay. So she came to Montpelier and she was waiting for her husband, and she wanted to have a community for him.
Oh, well, nice.
And she put something there on the front porch forum. And, I just showed up, and
cool.
there were like 4 people the first time, and then we talked there, and then the group started getting bigger and bigger.
Nice.
And there were people from, it became also a pretty big group. We used to get together at Baguitos.
Oh, Beguitos, yes.
Yeah,
right.
that was the
Right.
place where we
Not
met.
there anymore.
Before,
That
yeah,
Baguito's
no.
not there anymore.
No. I'm very upset about
Oh
that.
my
Yeah,
God.
and we used to actually celebrate anniversaries. One time, even Bernie Sanders sent a letter, to the group.
Oh, no
yeah,
kidding.
yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's cool.
and we read the
I
letter
love
there.
Bernie.
And,
Yeah.
but then the pandemic stopped that. We moved, because they closed Baguitos, we moved from there to Rabble Rouser.
Oh, I know, yes, right down the street.
Yeah,
right.
the next
Right.
door.
Nice.
And so what we're doing now is like we get together once in a while and we play volleyball at the rec field.
Oh, nice.
So once we had a picnic
Oh,
there.
I want to play volleyball.
Well, you
That was
see
my
the-
game.
You're missing out here.
Yeah.
Yes,
And sometimes we go for hikes.
Nice.
And so that's what we're doing.
Good for
basically.
you. That's great.
That's nice.
So I researched that Hispanic Heritage Month was first proclaimed in 1968. And since then, I've looked at, every year there's something. And I think most of us know Cinco de Mayo, which is May
Fifth.
5th. And that we know margaritas and
Yeah.
but there's a lot more that gets celebrated because
But that's Mexican.
yeah, that's yeah,
But
and that-
according to Gina, who is from Mexico,
That
is
is
not
not-
even celebrated in Mexico.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think those are.
Is this an American thing?
Because
Yeah.
that way people go to bars and spend
Yeah.
money. So I think that's.
They
the
have to have a
idea.
reason.
It wasn't even the day that it's not their Independence Day. It was actually
It
Rosa.
was a battle
Rosa.
between the.
Yeah,
the,
but
the
it's
French-
It was a battle that
the French.
happened.
over French, yes. So it's
Yeah.
Mexican over
And
French.
a lot of them die, so they don't even look
That's
at that.
interesting
They
because
don't even
we
look
certainly
at.
celebrated here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
used to celebrating
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, Margarita Day. So I was going to ask you, in my house, it's St. Patty's Day. Big deal. We celebrate it every year. What celebration do you hold dear from your heritage at your home?
To me, there are like 3 there in my growing up.
Right.
I am not a religious person, but I grew up Catholic.
Yeah.
My mother was Catholic, and so something big. It was a cultural shock actually for me the first year. The Holy Week.
Oh,
Semana
Semana
Santa.
Santa.
The Holy Week. It's a big deal, at least in
Yes.
Nicaragua. But it's like Cinco de Mayo here,
We
The
sort of-
excuse is, the
for me, don't
They
be
don't
messing
really.
with that.
People don't be praying. In other words.
So the Holy Week it goes from Monday to Friday to
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Good
whole
Friday,
week.
right?
Right.
Good Friday and then
Good Friday, right? Yeah, Holy Thursday. Yeah,
correct.
yeah,
So
Monday, Thursday.
so Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday at noon. Things
right.
people start packing up because some people go to church and they actually do that.
Yeah.
But most people they go to the beach.
Yes.
That's what happens.
That's
A
what
lot of
they
people
say.
drown. There's a lot of accident, a lot of
Yeah.
drinking. So Thursday and Friday you will find not a soul in town.
Huh.
Everything is closed. It's like
They're all
ghost
at the
town.
beach.
Or at the church or the beach.
Yeah.
Some at the
Yeah.
church.
That's
Most
just-
people at the beach. And the thing is that when I realized here it was Holy Week, and nothing happened.
Right.
We're like,
Oh,
what's
when you
going
were
on?
here.
Yeah,
Oh,
and I
I
say,
see.
everybody, what's
Yeah.
happening?
Growing up, I grew up Catholic, and that was from Wednesday to
To Sunday, for the.
that was-
Uh-huh.
we didn't mess around.
Yeah,
We just-
Dominican Republic is
Okay.
Catholic too, and since I came here so young, I really never went to a Holy Week and do any of that stuff.
okay.
Still haven't done it because these days now it's kind of dangerous to be doing those things especially in my country. I don't know.
To be outwardly being
Well,
religious,
because people
or?
will camp out. No,
No.
because so many people are getting drunk and
Oh, I see.
fights
Oh,
come
okay.
out,
It's
and
dangerous,
yeah.
and accidents
Exactly.
happen
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all that stuff.
Well,
So
that's too bad.
like I know that the past few years in the Dominican Republic, they have thrown out, they put a lot of police in the street, in the highways,
yeah.
and the times that I have gone to visit, I can see that every maybe 2-3 miles there
Right.
is a car there, But there is a lot of accidents. People, they don't. They
So
don't care.
do you have a St. Patty's Day that you celebrate because of your Latin heritage?
St. Patty's
No,
Day,
I'm just saying that's something that in my house,
No,
I
we
mean,
don't
that's a
have
holiday we
one.
celebrate.
We actually
4th
what
of
we
July.
celebrate is the Independence Day. For us, is February 27.
Oh,
That is a huge celebration in the Dominican Republic. People dress up. They have like carnivals.
Oh,
in
okay.
different towns.
Yeah.
Now, the biggest town in the Dominican Republic that has it's called Las Vegas, like Las Vegas, Nevada,
Yeah.
Las Vegas, and people dress up like with all these masks on,
Right.
handmade, and all these
Nice.
elaborate costumes with bells on, and then they
Mardi Gras.
but it's something
Is
like
that
a
right?
Mardi Gras kind of
Yeah.
thing. And the one thing I didn't like, because when I was little, they looked like devils, to tell you the truth. And
Scare
they
the little
they
kids.
used to scare me.
Yeah.
And they also have, they take the stripe of the chicken and they blow it.
Oh, this is too much info.
Listen, no, but they
No.
use it as a balloon.
Oh, no
They
kidding.
put it to dry and put it at the end of a stick. They put it to dry and they beat like.
Huh.
And,
And what part of
dancing
the
and
chicken
dancing.
is this?
Uh-huh.
What part of the chicken is this?
Like the intestine or something.
Oh,
like
okay.
that.
Ah,
They
okay.
put
Yeah.
it to,
Yeah. That could be.
Yeah, they put it to dry. They blow it
Yeah.
up, make it like blow it up, balloon, put it to dry, and put it at the end of a stick. So that
Excellent.
person dressed up. I wish I could have brought some pictures, because right before I came, that's when I went online and I was looking to see if I got a picture of the dressing that they used to dance the
Well, if you have
typical
any
merengue.
online through a computer, we could send it here. We could put it on after we videotape the show.
Oh.
That would be great. We could have any videos that you
and
have.
you
would be
too,
great.
Jairo. I mean, like the dance, like our dance is the merengue is the typical. They have a special dresses that they put on,
Right.
and then they dance like the men will wear like a hat and that pants up to here, and like sometimes they're barefooted, because that's the dance that started with just 3 instruments, which was the guira, the tambora. What was the other one? Was it a trumpet? It wasn't a trumpet. Guira, tambora.
I don't know.
So tambourine. Is that
No,
one
it
of
wasn't
them?
a
or-
tambourine.
No,
I was
it's not
just trying to.
tambourine.
I was trying to listen to the sound.
It could have been the saxophone or something like that.
Oh, cool.
I'm gonna have to find that
Yeah.
out. I can't even believe I don't remember.
But it's not guitar then.
It could have been a guitar.
Guitar, guiro, and tambora. I don't know.
Guiro and
I don't know.
tambora.
What was the Independence Day date? What was that?
February 27th
27th.
in the Dominican Republic. Yeah.
Very nice. And do you have something similar though that you bring to your home and celebrate?
Not really, because I'm thinking about your question, so the 3 celebrations that I can think of will be Semana Santa, the Holy Week, then Christmas and New Year's Eve.
Well, that's
New Year's Eve used to be a big deal in my house because it was my mother's birthday.
Oh, perfect.
So we used to have, full rooms
Yeah.
of food, our neighbor was a chef. So he used to
Oh, my
volunteer,
goodness.
and
Be
he
friendly
used to
to
make
him.
some really, really nice food.
Nice.
That's what I remember, from
I just remember one that I think maybe we're forgetting, because I don't know if maybe your country celebrates the 3 Kings Days, which is January 6th.
6, not a big
Little
deal.
Christmas, we call that.
Yeah,
So we don't give gifts on Christmas Day in the Dominican Republic. That's just says we have dinner and we eat those 2 days.
So maybe you actually focus on the meaning of Christmas, of the birth of the
The
baby
meaning
Jesus.
of, and then on this
give
January 6th, that's when the 3 kings, like when Jesus was born, the 3
Right.
kings came and brought him gifts.
Yes, right.
So that's what we do. That's when we give
Now,
the gifts
That
to the
actually
children.
makes a lot of sense because
Mm-hmm.
those of us who actually like to celebrate Christmas, it gets over overridden, overlooked by all the gifts and
I-
Santa Claus, of course. But
I
didn't-
don't take my tree out until after the Three Kings Day.
that's when I take mine down.
I
'cause-
got my kids used to, we celebrate, this is when we actually give our gifts. It's not Christmas. This Christmas is from another
Nice.
culture, but our culture is the Three Kings Day.
That's nice to keep that up, and I hope that they do
It's
that.
good that
as
the, you know,
as
the, and the
grow.
grandkids that to know
Yeah.
that one as they grow.
I didn't know about the Three Kings Day until
Really?
I was like 10 or 12. That a friend of mine told me.
Oh,
They-
really?
They used
Oh,
to
your
celebrate it
mom
in
and
his
dad.
house,
Yeah,
you know. But in my house,
It's this
no.
gifts?
We were too many,
Oh.
you know, too many kids. So my parents just Christmas was enough, you know.
How many kids were in your house?
At first we were like, let me see, 5,
Ooh.
6, 7.
Ooh,
Then we became 9, you know, because it was 5 from my mother and my father, you know, 5
Yeah,
kids.
right.
But there was my half sister, my father's daughter, who grew
little
up with us.
extended family. Yes.
Yeah. Then another member my parents adopted,
Oh,
my younger
really?
sister, so
Oh,
it became
nice.
7. And then another son of my father showed up when we were like in middle school, you know.
Whoa.
and he came, you know, my mother was always
Nice.
open, you know,
Nice.
to
She
you
must
know.
have been cooking all day from morning till night.
Well, back in
Actually,
the-
she was working, so we had a lady helping
Oh,
us with
really?
the
Oh,
cook.
oh,
Otherwise, yeah, you
Yeah.
know, that's how she
Back
could
in the
support
day-
A lot of
so
sandwiches.
many kids.
Yeah.
And
Back in
then-
the day, I'm sorry.
yeah, hold on.
Go.
And then another, my younger sister was born. You know, when I was
Good
already
grief,
16 years
right.
old.
Oh.
So we became 9.
Oh,
Or,
bless
you know.
your mother.
Yeah,
Good grief.
yeah, and a
I
lot
don't-
of so
that's
Christmas was an
Yeah, I can
expensive
see that.
area. Yeah.
Yeah, my family, my uncles and that, there were 6 of them. But what I was gonna say is that in my country also, like if someone needs help, you know, they will like help them out.
Yeah,
You
right,
know, like,
right.
but it used to be more back in the day because things have changed
Yeah.
and people have become more evil.
Well,
So you have to be
everybody's just
careful.
angry. Everybody's so
Yeah,
angry.
you have to be careful
so
who you do
divided,
things.
yeah.
But I mean, a plate of food, you don't deny anybody a plate of food.
Right, right.
You come to somebody's house, the
Yeah,
first
there's always
thing
a place
is
at the table.
coffee. You want some coffee, and they're, oh,
Right.
we're cooking, and they serve you your food and
Right.
everything, and you'll be like, you can't say no.
That's nice. If we should only continue that, that would be great.
Yeah.
Now,
So,
you know, in my country, we have some celebrations also that I could not bring here by myself. You need a community to do that. You know? And there are like indigenous celebrations that have been adopted by the Catholic Church. You know, like San Jerónimo.
okay. From
You see,
this, yes,
and
right.
so that day people drink and celebrate in the street, and they bring this saint, you know, they carry it in the street.
Oh, yes, I
you
love
know,
that.
From
Right.
one place
Right.
to a church,
Right.
you know. So in that trajectory, people, you know, they put like paints on their faces.
Yeah.
They drink a lot, you know, and they scream
And
and,
no
celebrate.
quarante tres. I'm very upset with this. There was a drink that I used to drink in Tarrytown, New York, called quarante tres. And it was, and I think you're right, it was from Spain.
From Spain. Mhm.
And they don't sell it anymore, but I think the word excess came to
I'm
mind
gonna
when I was
find out.
drinking that.
Then we have
try
these other celebrations also, but they are in the street, you know. I don't remember specifically the dates, you know, that we do it a few times a year. So we have La Gigantona, for example. So La Gigantona is the giant woman. And it's a structure, a wooden structure,
Oh.
dressed as a woman, and a guy gets inside there and start like dancing, and the Gigantona is just
Oh,
moving.
no kidding.
And it used to be really scary for me when I was a
What
little
is the
kid.
significance of the woman?
Well, that's part of the Nicaraguan mythology. We have a lot of different characters like that. La Gigantona comes with, it's almost like Snow White, because it comes with these dwarfs. Is that the
Dwarfs,
word?
yes,
Yeah,
dwarfs.
like a few of them that dance around her. You know, but it doesn't have anything to do with Snow White. You know, it's a very, and there is the el toro encuetado. It's like cohetes is like these little fireworks that you put.
Yeah.
And toro is bull, so it's a wooden bull, you know, also
Right,
a Higuera,
right.
and he's shooting fireworks
Oh,
in
wow.
all directions, you know. So people go there, and it's like, you know, that was dangerous to me too, because you know they can
Yeah.
hurt you, you know, but
Right.
people like that.
It's like those people that over, of course, that run with the bulls.
Yeah,
Speaking of-
exactly.
Spain, that's in
Yeah.
Spain.
Hello,
Oh my
that's
God.
really
Not
I
for
would
me.
not do that.
No,
but that's actually, but only that is a fake bull
Yeah.
that we have, you know, in the street, and it's all over the streets, you know, in the street. I don't really know, you know, the origin of
Yeah,
these
that
things.
would be, yeah, that'd be interesting to see how that would work here. You'd need,
Yeah.
you'd need a large community. to
And yeah,
pull that
like
off.
community to do this
Right,
and a permission,
exactly.
permit from the police, you
Yeah,
know.
right. Oh, yeah, regulations. They're always too
Right,
complicated
yeah.
here. I don't mean to, because it's so cool talking about all this fun stuff. But do you mind if I just switched a little bit? You and I were talking a little bit about racism here in Vermont, and you had shared a couple of things about how you felt you and your boys had been treated, and is that? I mean, that's just in the
Well-
in the media all over the place these days. And I
Well, these
must say-
days it is getting out of control.
yeah.
But when I first came here to Vermont, since it was an old white state and people weren't used to seeing colored people, the one word they knew was the N word. And where did they know it from? From their parents.
Yep.
Whoever was raising them, that taught them or saw movies and showed them and
Yeah.
whatever. So I had my kids through them. And actually, me, myself, a couple of years ago, by a friend, got called the N-word.
Huh.
And I just
Yeah,
was so shocked. I have never talked to her again because I didn't.
I don't blame you.
Even if you've been drinking, when you've been drinking, that's when you say things that you really feel.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
so
the inhibitions
I
are-
put that on the side. But the children, you know, it was taken care by the school, but it was really nothing. I reported it to the human rights. There was nothing that the human rights never did.
Yeah.
But Leslie, she was in third grade, and she's really light skinned, a lot lighter skinned than me, and green eyes. You met my daughter Leslie. Mm-hmm. So how the kids knew that she was Spanish, I don't know, or that she spoke another language. So her best friend was Afro-American. So this little boy must have liked one of them, or I don't know what, but the only way that he could get their attention was by calling them the N-word.
Well, kids can be a little cruel if they think,
You know?
if they think they have something on you or can say something to hurt you. They will. I don't think.
Yeah, and oh my God, the worst one that happened to me was one time I moved to Williamstown. I don't know why. I couldn't find a place. So I found a place there. And I went to talk to the school and all that, to the principal, and I said, you know, they're colored kids, and have you ever had a, oh, no. First day of school, the phone rings, and it's the principal. And I went like, oh, no, don't tell me.
Right.
And he goes, yeah, there was an incident. I said, okay, I'll be there in a few minutes. So I got the human rights involved with that, but there was a lady that used to work at the human rights that went to Williamstown High School, and her best friend was Afro-American, and her best friend couldn't attend Williamstown High School. They used to bring her to Spalding.
Because she was black?
And that was back in the day.
Really? That
she
surprises
told me
me.
that, and she took care of the whole situation with the school.
Wow.
She brought in a group of people. That was the first time they actually the human rights did something, because I mean it wasn't that the kids needed to learn.
Yeah, right.
The difference and all that stuff. And she made something like a court section, you know, some with juries, one was a lawyer, one was this, and this is the case. So, you know, she started doing all that with the kids and all that and showing them.
Yes.
But me, myself, I had to, like, Montpelier Elementary School, when my Leslie was in third grade, I had to go. The teacher asked me to come in and to talk to the children, that they had a lot of questions. And I went like, what? About what? And she said, well, they just want to know because they know Leslie doesn't want to speak Spanish in class because she's embarrassed, and the kids want to know more about her country. And so I went and I did the
I think
class.
that was a good thing, don't
It
you
was a
think?
very nice thing,
Yeah.
and it was so like it was very emotional, kind of, because I mean these children didn't know any better.
Yeah.
You know, they would ask me, "Is the moon the same where
Oh,
you
wow,
live?
there's a question.
Is the sun the same? Is it bright like that?" So you could tell that they're children. They don't really, if they say that word, they don't really know what they're saying.
When I first moved up here from New York, I worked in Burlington, and I had a dear friend of mine, was a black woman with her daughter, and she was divorced, and I said, come on up and visit. And she was afraid to come up to visit because of all being so white up here. And I asked a friend of mine who I worked with who was black, I said, will she face will she face names calling and something? He goes, she says no. She says they'll stare because they're curious.
Yeah.
And so she came up, and we had a wonderful weekend. I mean, we had a great time, and she came up a couple of times afterwards. But so that was my experience, but others, as you said, have just that's
It's
so
been
bad.
there's been a lot,
I'm just
but
always surprised to hear this. I live in a vacuum, and I'm embarrassed by it because I think it's all about educating and how
that's
and
what
how
it
you
is.
educate. Because I came from years ago. I'm a little old, and there were things that were just the way they were back then until somebody told you that was wrong and explained to you why, and then you cut it out because. I mean, it was back then. You never thought it was wrong. It was just the way it was. And then somebody'd say, hey, cut it out, and here's why. Did you get any pushback or anything about being Latin here in Vermont? Or
You know, I don't think I could say that. You know, in my personal experience, you know, once in a while people will make fun of my accent or how I pronounce one word, you know. But for the most part, you know, people, I feel, you know, some people make me actually feel very welcome.
Yeah.
You know, at work, you know, there is, not everybody, but there is always 2-3 people who really make you feel like, you know, you're welcome here. You know, you belong here.
That's my experience with watching, just observing people. I know in DMV you couldn't ask for a more welcoming group.
Well, they were, but there was a few.
Oh,
There's always that few.
There's always a few.
There's always that few
Yeah.
that make your job environment uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I lasted there 6 years, and there was a few things that I took. I had to resign. I lasted all that time, and I tell you, there's so many people I met there. They are wonderful. We still see each other. We're
Well, I know on
still
your
friends.
Facebook, I know a lot of the names.
There's a whole lot of them. Yeah, Joyce
Yeah.
Wade.
Right.
Do you remember Joyce?
Oh, for sure.
I mean, Joyce went to the Dominican Republic with me twice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I mean, me and her are best of friends and everything. And I mean, it's been like that. I can't complain. And that's one thing about the nickname that I was gonna say. I have the best luck here in Vermont. I have flourished here in Vermont. Okay, I have very good jobs. And if I'm not there, it was because I didn't want to be there because of a certain situation or whatever, not because I was told you got to go or whatever, because and it's like I was writing and thinking, I mean, there's so many resources here that many people, Spanish, white, blacks, whatever, so many resources that people can, if they have a goal in life, look for the resource. Do what they ask, and you can have what you want.
There you go.
There is
Good
stuff.
attitude. I think I can sense from both of you that you have a great attitude. So how could you not like you both?
You know, it's like I always been like that. I've been a go-getter. If I want something, nobody's going to give it to me.
Right.
Nobody's going to give me my piece of cake and eat here. Take a piece of cake and eat it too. No, you go after what you want. So I feel like here in Vermont, and that's why I came back the last time and never left again.
Yeah.
Because I said, this is where I got to be. This is where my kids got to be. And this is where I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I have
Well,
got my
you're right.
goals.
I think Vermont, having worked for state government and been a little bit in the legislature, there are services and support there if you just ask.
Yes.
I think we have got it covered. I don't think
Yeah.
there's too many areas that we don't have some kind of support or service. If you need it from a moral support, from a work support, certainly from a food and I mean it's just out there. If you
Grieving
just-
support.
yeah, you
If
just-
somebody
yeah,
dies in your
yeah.
family, they'll come to
Just
your
raise
house.
your hand.
I mean, I know a lot of things, and I know where I can go and find something. But if I want it, I gotta go and gotta get information. I gotta fill this form. I gotta bring this paper. I gotta do this. I'll bring you anything you want. Just tell me what you want.
Yeah, right.
I'll bring it to you. This is what I want.
That's
How can
great.
you help me?
That's great. Yeah, you find it here in Vermont, I think, anyway. But
Whoever doesn't have it is because they haven't really went out there
And
and
looked,
and
yeah.
looked and done what they're supposed to do.
so one more sort of touchy subject is, I think, anyway, it's because I don't know what the solution is. It's the border, and I mean, so many people are coming from all the countries in Latin America, and you've got to know that they come from desperate situations.
I have a very distinct observation or opinion on that case.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, and it can be touchy, because
No,
we're
I
talking
know,
about,
this is, save the best for last discussion here.
and this is why, a couple of times I've been told to go back to my country on Facebook.
Oh, my
Yeah,
God,
because,
really?
I'm vocal about what I think,
Yeah.
and I don't do that anymore on
Oh.
Facebook. But the thing is, when you see immigrants coming, in big groups, I thought it was interesting for trying to use a good word, that the Biden administration sent, I think it was Kamala Harris, who went to Honduras or Guatemala
Right.
to try to find out
Oh, yeah, the root cause?
the root cause of the
Seriously,
immigration.
I know what that is.
But when you send, not you send, but corporations from all over the world go to Latin America and they take away the resources. They leave behind just pollution, poverty, hunger. They buy the land, and they leave people without
Interesting,
water.
right.
What do you do?
Yeah.
When you can survive there, you migrate.
And-
Just like people migrated from Africa,
Right.
the first humans who populated the whole
Sure.
world, there was no food there.
Right.
There was a shortage of food. So that is a natural consequence.
Yep.
But they don't want to see the elephant in the room, and they want to blame or
So-
invent other causes.
I don't, so if you have corporations, who should be stopping them in these countries? Is it the government? Somebody has to stop
Well,
them.
I read this book, The Confessions of an Economic Hitman, by John Perkins, I think is the
Oh,
name
really?
of the author.
Never
Yeah,
heard
it
of
was a very interesting book because it explained, for example, the first time I went to Panama, I was in a theater group, so from Nicaragua we went to Brazil to an
Cool.
international theater
Right.
festival. So we spent the night in Panama, and I saw this highway just like here. They go one under
Oh,
the other.
with all
we
the
don't have
people-
that-
right.
we didn't have that in
Right.
Nicaragua until recently, like 2-3 years ago. We got the first one, and I had my first question was like, why do they have this and we don't? And then I found out by reading this book. Of course, the Panama Canal has a lot to do with that.
Right, right.
The same in Ecuador.
It's all about the money, isn't it?
Yeah, the same in Ecuador. This I don't know what corporation went there, but they were exploiting all this oil from
Yeah.
Ecuador. So of course they build these beautiful highways so they can bring the oil out.
Oh my
That's the
goodness.
purpose, for they do it. But in this book you find out that these corporations they go there, and they try to do what they want. They talk to the government. If the government goes along, that's fine. If they don't, so they send the economic hitman. Like him to go and talk cannot tell the president the consequences of not accepting
Yeah,
this
right,
deal.
right.
If that doesn't work, then they send the jackals, jackals, I don't know.
Jackals? What jackals?
Oh my
To
God.
assassinate the country, the president, or ultimate an invasion.
What is the name of this book?
Confessions of an Economic Hitman. So these corporations are pretty tied up, with the government.
Yeah.
The government will protect this, and what happened...
Usually behind closed doors, I
Of
might
course,
add.
I understand that, but then if they don't expect, if they don't see the consequences of this behavior, I don't know, I don't
Yeah.
understand it. Why? Because it just makes...
Yeah.
Let me
'Cause
tell you
I-
what I just found out the last time I was in the Dominican Republic. you guys never been, but when you go, you fly into Punta Cana, and you're gonna go east. There's some tolls. There's 3 tolls. Okay, 3 tolls. They are owned by Colombia.
Huh.
You know why? They helped build the new road,
Roads.
a
So they
new
want their
nice
money
road
back.
like here.
Yeah.
But they put those 3 tolls there to make
it-
their money.
back.
And if they go over what they spent, then of the over, they'll give a certain percent to the government. I couldn't even believe
Yeah.
that.
Think about these cartels in Mexico, for example, and all these
Right,
drugs.
right.
You know? People say, oh, those Mexicans are like savage people, you know, how they, I mean, they're pretty bloody, you know, and those things. But if you think, I mean, who's selling the weapons? Who buy the drugs?
Yeah.
And who laundry their money?
Right.
You know, I think one guy from this cartel, they found some document that showed that he had some money in Wells Fargo, I think it was.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, and that was a really
Yeah, but-
very in the
yeah,
news,
very.
you know. But it's a George Carlin, the comedian, used to say, you want to take care of
Oh,
this problem,
George Carlin,
you need to
right.
hang with these bankers. You
Yeah.
hang one of them and put the other ones, you know, in line.
A lot
you
of
know.
truth said in jest,
Yeah,
right?
you know,
He was a pretty sharp guy.
Right. But he needed the sense of humor
Yeah,
for
yeah,
people
to
to
get
pay
it-
attention.
yeah, right,
to,
exactly.
You know. So
That's
if you do
exactly.
that seriously, nobody's going to listen.
Yep.
You know, but he was a genius
Interesting.
that way. You know, he's
Yeah.
a hero of mine.
Yeah,
And
I agree with you. If he always got away with saying things that
Yeah.
others may not
Right.
be able to.
And what's
do
his
that.
name?
George
Jo-
Carlin. Yeah, he's it's an amazing
comedian.
comedian. But when he would be serious, but joking, and you'd listen, and he was always right on the money. He would say things that are like, whoa, you know. Because I just find when we're looking for the root causes of what, I think we all know what the root causes are.
Yeah,
Seriously,
but people
like
don't wanna-
food,
yeah.
like housing, money. I mean, it's not there, or maybe in somebody else's hands, but not the people's.
Right.
Yeah.
That
So
is right.
I think, you know, people don't want to move from where, you know, I think humans, we
Right.
like our niche.
Yes,
We-
well,
like
your culture
your
and
culture,
your-
your family, your
Yeah.
language, your neighbors, your friends, your cousin, your extended family, your country.
Yeah.
And you only move when you have to.
Right.
And I find 2 reasons. Either because you are running for your life or
Right.
because you fall in love.
Oh,
You know?
what a romantic. He's probably right. Well, listen, we were talking before the show, and we're running out of time, is about how these people that are coming here are going to be successful. Because everything's going to be different. Because there
Of
isn't the
course.
culture,
Oh, yeah.
it's just different here. We're,
Yeah.
we're just different.
But
and-
you know what? I think they're just going to be happy wherever they put them
Well, if-
because they're out of whatever was causing
that
them
may
to
be.
immigrate.
Yeah, but they would
understand?
prefer to stay home, I think,
Yeah.
in having a peaceful society.
Well,
just like
that's
Spain,
true.
Yes,
you
because
know?
that is their home and that's
Yeah,
their roots. and
exactly.
everything. Anyway, I thank you both. This has been fascinating to me. I really thank you both very much. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Nice to meet you
And
too.
I hope this is not the last time. Elizabeth, delightful to see you again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you next week. And in the meantime, keep listening beyond the sound bites.